Hey guys, in this video, I want to explain to you about the different difficulty levels that we have assigned for the questions, sections and the overall mocks. Alright, so let's try to understand what each of these mean. Now, wherever you find difficulty level 1, it means that the question or section or the mock is going to be easy. Alright, what does easy mean? Well, basically, the questions are very straightforward, which basically means that you don't have to take a lot of time to think, and it's fairly straightforward. You know the question, you know what the topic is, you know what is required of you, and so you can very quickly attempt the questions. So obviously, because everyone can attempt the questions, the cutoffs will be quite high, and many people will get really high scores also. Alright, this is what happens in an easy exam. What's a good example of such an exam? You have CLAT 2017. CLAT 2017 paper was easy. So what happens then is your ability to succeed in such an exam is making sure that you have speed and accuracy, because everyone's going to get high scores. So your high score should be higher than the average high score. Alright, that's how easy questions work. Next, if you see level 2, this is our understanding, at least this is what we have come up with according to our research. Then you have level 2. What is level 2 questions? Level 2 questions are moderate questions. Moderate is basically not difficult, but at the same time a little more difficult than easy. So questions are still straightforward in the sense that you know what is being asked of you, but to actually do what you are asked to do, maybe it will take you a little bit of time. But it's still it's a little longer than easy probably, but it's still quick enough, so it's moderate. So some of the questions may be tricky, some of them might be difficult, but overall it is moderate only. So what is required generally is that you make sure you understand what they're asking, maintain your speed, maintain your accuracy, and if you do that, then you can actually attempt the overall paper in the given time. You should not have any difficulty if you have enough practice. So you have to do as many mocks as you can, as many practice tests, as many subject tests as you can. What's a good example of a moderate paper? CLAT 2009. I would say CLAT 2011 also probably. CLAT 2014 I would say, but it's actually more on the easy side. So now this is easy and moderate. You understand this easily. Now I want to explain to you what difficult and very difficult is. So level 3 questions are difficult questions. Difficult questions are basically any question that is a little unfamiliar to you, or even if it is familiar to you, you know that it's going to take a lot of time and a lot of effort in actually deriving the answer. So it will take you more than average time to actually come and sit and actually get the answer. So and of course, what's a general trademark of a difficult question? It's that it's very lengthy, because it takes a lot of time for you to read and then understand and then decide whether you want to attempt it or not, because there's negative marking, right? So because of all of this, of course, scores are going to be on the lower end, in the sense that high score, it's not easy to get a high score. So most people will get a lower score than usual, and cutoffs will also be lower than usual. A good example of this would be CLAT 2013. You can argue that CLAT 2013 is more on the moderate end, but at the time when actually the exam happened, and I was the one who wrote, I was one of the people who wrote CLAT 2013. At that time, it was a difficult paper. It was not easy or moderate; it was difficult. Now let's get to very difficult, okay? And mock 1 and a few other mocks of the All India CLAT mock series by Law School on 1. They're going to be very difficult. What does it mean? Well, very difficult questions are rare in CLAT, but people who write mock tests seem to want very difficult questions so as to prepare for the worst. That's a good strategy. So essentially, very difficult questions are more difficult than the difficult questions, obviously. So the idea is that when you see such questions, such completely unfamiliar, not only unfamiliar questions, but unfamiliar topics, all right? And it's not very rarely are such questions even seen on CLAT or ALET, and such questions are asked to you. So because you have such a shock that you see questions that you don't even know, you might be in such a shock that you might not be able to give your best for the rest of the questions also. So that's the worst part about very difficult questions. First of all, you might not get the answers for very difficult questions, but even the questions you might get the answer to, you might not be in the mental frame of mind to do them, right? So it will take a lot of time for you to sit and read and understand, and then you want to look at the options, evaluate the answers. All of that's going to be very difficult. So because of all of this, the scores are going to be very low, and of course the cutoffs will also be very low. What's a very good example of this would be CLAT 2015. CLAT 2015 questions were completely new and took a lot of time to solve and very rarely seen on CLAT. So this is a good example of such a very difficult paper. So the question papers like CLAT 2017, 2009 are only given for illustration purposes only. It's not exactly like if you're going to have a very difficult paper means you will see only questions from CLAT 2015 type. Nothing like that. I'm just giving you for an example. So this is the difficulty levels that we're going to follow. As you know, difficulty levels will only be released shortly after the shortly before the mock. We want to keep it confidential. If you want to know the difficulty level of the mock that is coming up, make sure you follow us on Instagram and turn on the updates. We will update you about the upcoming mocks difficulty level on our stories and on our feed. Alright, so I wish you the best of luck. I hope that you do very well. Happy study.